This is a Japanese square bath. There used to be a popular design in Japan quite a while ago, but you can still find them in very old apartments and houses. It's a square bath. Now, I've used these myself. You can't actually lay down, obviously. You have to kind of crouch in a fetal position with your knees up against your chest. But it is kind of a nice experience because the water is so deep. You can float around and bob up and down in the water, unlike in a conventional bath. This old bath is in an old apartment, and the way the water was heated was you filled it with cold water, and then the water boiler would suck out the water, heat it, and then blow it back in again, so you didn't waste water. If you ever come to Japan and get the opportunity to use a square bath, I suggest you take it, because it's a different experience. Line after line, hundreds and hundreds, so many capsule machines in one place. Why? Only in Japan, that's why. 400 yen, 300 yen, 500 yen. So many things you don't really need. This is a store in Japan, and it's purely capsule machines. One after another, over and over again. And inside, little different novelties. Now, do I need a ring with a spider on it? Don't think so. Do I need a plastic Japanese spider crab? No, I don't think so. And it appears a lot of other people don't think so as well. Because as you can see, the place is completely empty. I'm the only person in here. It's crazy! Japanese ovens. Now, you're in Japan. You want to bake a cake or roast a lovely, delicious chicken. Let's go over to the oven, or the stove, as you say in some countries, and let's open it up, ready to put the cake in. Here we go. Open the oven, and it's a drawer. It's a drawer. Okay, what's this thing at the top? Maybe that's the oven. Let's check. Let's take a look. Let's pull it open, and it's a very small grill, just for a couple of fish. Yes, in Japan, no one has an oven. It's really uncommon to see any kind of house with an oven. A hob, yes, at the top. A grill, yes. But an oven, no. Last chance. Maybe the oven's at this part. No, it's another drawer. So, Japanese houses don't have ovens. Driving in Japan. One of the first things you'll notice if you're driving in Japan, or even just walking down the street, is you never hear anyone honking their horns. It just doesn't happen. And if you give way to someone, rather than wave or gesture, they politely bow to you through their car window as they're driving. Another thing you won't hear very often are police sirens, because there's such a low crime rate. If you do hear a siren, it's usually an ambulance, because Japan has a very large aging population. Now, there's good news and bad news about driving licenses. If you're from a country that drives on the left, you don't need to take another driving test. But unfortunately, if you're a country that drives on the right, you will need to take another driving test in Japan to get a Japanese driving license. Sorry about that. Japanese supermarkets. This is an example of the famous Japanese double-decker shopping trolley, which carries 2 baskets. Now, why baskets? Because you have to give your basket with your shopping to the lady at the checkout. You can put a basket at the top or a basket at the bottom. If you don't want a basket at the bottom, you can remove it and put something heavy there, like a case of drinks or a giant bag of rice. The trolleys are actually quite light and quite small, and they're lower than shopping trolleys in a lot of other countries because the average height of a Japanese person is slightly smaller than a lot of places. As you can see, there's no child seat at the back, because if there was, the whole thing would just tip over. So that's an example of the famous Japanese double-decker shopping trolley. Christmas in Japan. Now, if you're in Japan at Christmas, you'll see all the visual elements of a Western Christmas, Christmas lights, Christmas trees, Santas, snowmen. But what you won't find is any of the significance of the event. It's not a public holiday in Japan. Japanese people go to work on Christmas Day, just like any other day. And Japanese children go to school on Christmas Day as well. They also only receive one gift in Japan. Only one gift for children at Christmas. Socially and culturally, Christmas really is a non-event in Japan because everyone's waiting for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, which are big events, where children go round to family members' houses and everyone has to give them little envelopes full of money. Japanese supermarket checkouts. If you look closely, you'll see something quite different in Japan. There's no conveyor belt that moves your food up to the scanner. In Japan, it's a different system. You fill your trolley full of hand baskets when you enter the supermarket, and then when you get to the checkout, you have to lift out all your hand baskets which are full of food, put them on the table there, and the checkout worker scans them and puts them on the other side in an empty basket. When it's all done, you've got a trolley full of food and baskets, and then you pay, and then you take all your baskets and food and take them to the table, which you can see at the back there, which is the kind of packing area. You'll also notice there's no chair for the supermarket worker to sit on. They have to stand up all day. A little confusing when you first get here, but you soon get used to it. This is a cemetery in Japan. And during the festival of Obon, which happens every year, a lot of Japanese families come to the cemeteries to visit their ancestors, to visit their headstones, and give them a clean, and bring some flowers, and burn some incense, and say some Buddhist prayers. In Japan, 99% of bodies are cremated, and those ashes are placed in small pots and then put in a small compartment under the family headstone, so that they're all together with their ancestors. The Japanese honor system. Now, this is an old apartment building in Japan, and I happen to know the owner, and he didn't want to be a landlord anymore, so he decided to convert part of the building into a free library. Now, I know everyone thinks the libraries are free, but this really is a free library. You don't need any kind of library card, and no one works there. The owner just comes in the morning, opens up, and then closes up at the end of the night. He was a big collector of books, so a large proportion of the books in there are his books. But other people who live in the neighborhood bring books they don't want and just leave them in the library. A lot of school children in the local area use it as a kind of study room. But yes, there's no one here. No one works here, and it's just open for anyone to come and go and take a book anytime they like. That's the Japanese honor system. What is inside a Japanese drinks vending machine? Well, let's take a look. Now, unfortunately, this machine doesn't have my two favorite Japanese drinks in it. It doesn't have any cow piss or any Pocari Sweat. Now, I say they're my favorite drinks. I don't actually drink them. I don't like them. But I love the names Cow Piss and Pocari Sweat. Now, this machine has mostly, like most machines in Japan, mostly coffee. It's always coffee, 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 coffee. But there is some Mitsuya cider. And Mitsuya cider, it's not an alcoholic drink, even though it's called cider. And it doesn't contain apples either. It's a lemon drink. But here's the worst thing. The worst thing you can find in a Japanese vending machine. It's hot corn soup. Oh my God, hot corn soup. It's the devil's vomit.